Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am in full autumn swing. I cannot get enough. I honestly am so in love with all of the projects that I have lined up right now. This being one of them, fully inspired by the last video. Now, if you missed this video, this was the trinket tray. I will link it in a card above here if you missed it. I used Jesmonite and epoxy resin poured at exactly the same time, wet on wet. I then put some dried flowers and leaves down into the epoxy resin, but this time around I'm going to be using the Eco Pour H20 by Just For You Online. This is their new and improved formula. They sent me 2 huge bags. The mold I'm using is this stunning teacup mold. Everything will be linked below with your molds and shapes new, a 10% discount. And I'm going to be trying out these leaves. These are silk leaves from Amazon. The epoxy, not poxy at all. The epoxy resin I'm using is the Just For You Online for coasters, and this is measurable 1:1 by volume, cure time 16 to 20 hours, and it is crystal clear. Now, the Eco Pour is measurable 100 to 35. So honestly, I knew I didn't need much. So that is exactly what I did. Of course, you could do 200 to 70 and of course, working your way up the scale. Now, the colors I'm using for the Eco Pour are the Homeware Design Pigments. Again, linked below with your discount code. I'm going very autumnal again. To mix up the Eco Pour, you want to pour the powder into your water and stir it in. Don't pour it all in at once. Just keep stirring until that powder dissipates. Is that the word? Look at me, guys. Big words for me. Into the water and you've got your mixture. Now, I decided to go similar to the last video, but I'm going to be a little bit more daring. I'm going to add in a few drops of the pumpkin spice, couple of drops of the chocolate, and then I thought I'll throw in some of the latte. You guys know I'm almost out of latte. It is my absolute favorite color in the whole range. And then I went back in with some more pumpkin spice, and I decided at this point, whatever this color becomes, we're going with it. There's no changing it. We are going with it because whatever happens, it's going to be autumn. It is going to scream autumn. Right now, it is screaming toffee. Oh God, I want some chocolate coated toffees. It is gorgeous. Now, my plan was the bottom 2/3 of these cups was going to be the Eco Pour, and the top third was going to be the epoxy resin poured wet at the same time. However, because I only made up a little bit of the Eco Pour, I wanted to get rid of it all. I wanted to put it all in. I didn't want to waste any, and it was probably a bit too much. I didn't really want this much. My plan is to do a backing color in epoxy resin for the whole cup. So at this point, I don't want that Eco Pour to be level with the top of the cup, which means I do need to do some shimmying and a shaking, and just shake it until it goes, it not only flattens, but it comes below the surface of the top of the mold. This meant 2 things. Well, did it mean 2 things? 1 thing. Bottom left cup and the top right cup, it went too far. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to work with it as it is, but I'm just going to use my micro brush to get down and in and around the 90-degree angles. I did want to say something. I had a comment on my last video, a really interesting, intriguing comment. The human brain is such a funny thing. It was a comment saying that they don't like my videos when I use the term shove it all in. It makes them feel like I just don't care. I don't give a damn. I just want to throw everything in and not get great results. But here's the thing. I have 2 ways. Okay, this video here, as well as many other videos, I definitely have a plan. I have a plan. I know what I want. I know what I want the end result to look like. And I do plan it. Like this video is a planned, I have a scheme. Whereas the last video, if you've been with me a while, you'll know I love nothing more than going with the flow, being free in creativity. and just putting things in with no real outcome in mind, no real plan. I'm going with the flow. I'm just shoving things in. And the truth is, they always work out. They always work out. You have to trust the process. And I think as artists, we can do what we want. So I just wanted to address that comment that I got on my last video to say that if you did watch my channel, because I don't think you do, but if you did watch my channel, you will see that a lot of my videos, they do have a plan to them. But for those that really know me, know that I love nothing more than being a bit free, to just go with the flow, put everything in, and sometimes those results are my absolute favorite results. So if you are new here, sometimes I work that way. Sometimes I have a plan like today. Honestly, back to the video, Claire. These cups, oh my gosh, if only it could stay like this. Look at what happened when I poured the epoxy resin at the top of the cups, and I also want it in the handles. I want the handles to be real strong, so I am pouring epoxy resin in the handles and at the tops where I can place my flowers in. How stunning do these look? They look like hot chocolates, they look like coffees, they look like mocha, whatever the posh coffees are. I don't know my coffees. I'm out here pretending I don't know a thing. Now these leaves, they're not silk. I want to say they're like a polyester. They're almost very, very waxy and plasticky. They are faux autumnal leaves. I have had these, I want to say, for about 5 years. They are still on Amazon though. They're still available. I'm going to link them below. Now, my plan for these was really to make my own autumn wreath years ago. That never happened. So the box is still sitting here. And I really was craving this almost like Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont, kind of when all the trees change. I mean, trees change everywhere, but you know, it's famous. The northeast coast of America is kind of famous for those reds, those stunning red leaves. And I know people travel there just for that. And that is what I was going for. I was going for this beautiful red, gorgeous gold, burnt orange colors in that epoxy resin. And I have to say, I was nervous about putting these leaves in the resin. They are, after all, a fabric of kind, like a fabric. And I thought that they would produce air bubbles, so I did soak them first in the epoxy resin before placing them down into the cups. Guys, I needn't have worried. They worked unbelievably so. And at this point, I want to put them all in, you know, like I want to do another project where I use the whole leaf in its entirety. I want to really, really try that. But yeah, like I said, bottom left, top right, I didn't have as much resin as I would have liked it to have, but I'm just working with what I've got and we're going to see what the outcome is. At this point, I thought I have enough of the gorgeous, rich reds and oranges, and I'm going to try and put in some of these dried flowers you would have seen in the previous video and the video before that. Again, these dried flowers, oh my gosh, stunning. They are linked below in my Amazon storefronts. And I decided I want to put these in. But what I am doing here is I'm putting them down over the red and the orange leaves. And I thought, I'm not going to get the wow impact if I do that. I'm not really going to see them. So I had to play around. And again, this is sped up because this was a process. I shoved some down into the, when I say shove, guys, again, back to that comment. I don't mean just shove it in. I mean, I'm shoving it in because it's a narrow gap and I have to physically shove it in. Yeah, so anyway, oh gosh, Claire, don't let things get to you. I have decided that I'm going to swap it around. So instead of putting the dried flowers down on top of the red so that I can just see them peeking out, like I just get a little peeky bit of the flowers coming from behind the red, I decided I want them in front. So I want the pale, gorgeous cream dried flowers first and foremost. I want you to see those before you see the reds. And here I am opening another pack because you remember those spiky, fluffy gorgeousness? Yeah, I dropped it all in the resin. Not intentional. One of you guys did give me the name of those. Thank you so much. I can't remember what it was, but I'd have to go back and read the last video. I wanted these because these gave the most wow impact. And it was at this point I thought, this is not enough for me. I want to pull out all of those leaves and put them down on top of the cream flowers. So yeah, it was a bit backwards, but that's because even though I had it planned, it was only afterwards I thought, actually, the gorgeous dried leaves would look so much better in front of the red and the orange petals. So yes, a little bit of a twiddle, grabbed my tweezers, I kind of pulled out the orange and the red leaves and placed them back down on to the dried flowers. I hope I'm making sense. But again, I tried to pack in as much as I could with what clear resin I had, and whatever gaps were there were going to be completely covered up with a back coat anyway. I really wanted a dark back coat just to make sure that those cream flowers super pop. But equally, I didn't want to lose my rich Massachusetts, Maine, New England and Vermont kind of leaves. I still wanted to see them through. So just carry on packing them in as much as you want. Again, you could do this completely differently to me, but I knew the look I was going for in this video. So yeah, I'm just a bit sad. I'm just a little bit sad that I didn't have as much resin in the bottom cup and the top cup. But this is what we are looking like at this point. I got excited. Guys, do you remember a few videos back, I used an Eco Pour, not Jesmonite. I used an Eco Pour with the latte and it turned green. Do you remember that? It started to turn green. I got so excited. I cannot explain. I thought, I'm going to get this absolutely stunning marbled, mottled kind of that patina. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get it. And I was so excited because I thought, maybe adding all of these colors together, I'm just going to get this incredible different colors behind. Sadly, I don't want to be a party pooper. Sadly, it didn't quite work out that way. But here we are, and it is about time to let them rest, sit and cure. Now for the back coats, I'm actually going to be using green. I decided to go for green. This is 24 hours later. I'm going to go for the dark green from Vista Pigments. So this is a gorgeous kind of forest green. And I'm going to try, now I'll be honest, it didn't quite work out, but it does give an opaque color. So I got these colors sent to me by Raw Creations over on Instagram. I'm going to tag them below. They are now the UK official stockist for Black Diamond pigments. These are stunning. And there was a pigment called Olive, and it was intriguing me because whilst it looked green in some lights, it looked brown in the packet. So I thought, let me put that in with the matte. So the Vista pigment is a matte opaque. It's one block matte opaque color, and you will get a matte opaque finish. However, if you add mica into a matte opaque color, you'll get a shimmer, a gorgeous shimmer. And that is where my brain was at. I thought, let me put this gorgeous dark green background with a mica and we might just get a shimmer in that background. Who knows, right? Who knows? So I just filled up the cups. This color is just stunning. Again, this is a mixture of the Vista Green and a couple of the micas. I just used my cocktail stick to tease that resin to come all the way to the edges because, again, I didn't want to over pour. I didn't want to overspill. I'm just teasing it all to the edges with a cocktail stick, helping that resin flow out, getting all of those edges. And also not forgetting those handles. I really want that resin in and around the handles. I want the handles as strong as possible. I wouldn't necessarily, and this is no hate to Eco Pours, it would be the same with Jesmonite. I don't want my handles to just be Jesmonite because I feel like that would be a very weak spot in the, I don't know, who knows, right? I've never tried smashing them, but yeah, that was my plan. Resin in the handles to give them some additional strength. Once they were completely filled up to the top, look at this color, you can see the shimmer. So you can see the shimmer now from adding those mica powders into the opaque pigment paste from Vista. This is 24 hours later. Take note of this clip. I pushed the handle to try and demold and I've snapped it. I haven't snapped it beyond use, but I have snapped it. And look at these. Oh my goodness me, those flowers. You can see here where the handle kind of cracked and snapped, but it's still going to stay there because we've got the resin in place. I am obsessed, guys. This one is a wow. Sadly, I did not get the green. You know, I was hoping that kind of pigment would change and it would all be green and just stunning. That didn't happen. It did stay the color that I put it in, but look at this. Absolute crystal clarity with the dried flowers, the leaves, and those especially New England inspired colors coming through on the background. It was definitely the right decision to swap them over and have the cream color flowers at the front and then pull those oranges and reds to the back. Look at this, guys. Look at this. I want to make a whole tray. I want to make a house. I am so utterly in love with the results from just that small epoxy resin section. I cannot get enough, honestly. I left these to dry overnight and fully cure for the 24-hour period before I added on my vinyl, but look at this. No air bubbles. I really was worried about those silk leaves giving me a ton of air bubbles in that resin. It just didn't happen. There is the unfortunate crack. A bunch of that eco stayed in the mold. That is because I put too much pressure on the handle when demolding. And now it's time for vinyl. We need to get cozy. I went into my Cricut design space, and of course you all know Baby Darling is my absolute go-to favorite font, downloaded from DaFont. It's not part of the Cricut, but I just love this font. There's something about it. And I think the Get was in the font, like the kind of Times New Roman, do you know, like that really standard font, but the cozy. I love these so much. Now bear in mind, you do have to leave ecos around 24 hours before you can put any vinyl on. They will not stick if you try to put it on sooner, because all that moisture has to come out. I'm obsessed, guys. I am so in love with these. The green background behind those flowers, the leaves giving me that autumn, oh my gosh, vibe. Like, let me know your thoughts. And again, everything will be linked below. Your discount from Molds and Shapes is there. Your Just For You Online is there. Your kind of pigments from Homeware Design Co. It's all there. I hope you love these as much as I do. I can't honestly stop. I can't get enough. I cannot stop. The next video, I'm going to be using a brand new mold from Molds and Shapes, and we are going forest. We are going pure autumn forest zen stunning. I can't stop, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.